Alright guys, quick velox overview. Everything's pretty standard. It's using the jet valve stem with a nylon seat, so there's no sealing material on the valve stem itself. The seat is the sealing material. The hammer spring, although it's hard to get out, see this little nut here? Yes, I scratched it up. It takes, a 2-pin system to get it going, and it was not easy to get moving, but it's threaded into place, and the hammer spring is about 2.2 inches, otherwise almost identical to a 2240 spring. It's 1 millimeter wire by, well, let's say, by about 55 millimeter length. Now, the only upgrade I could think of for that is the .047 wire, which is like 1.2 millimeter. But I don't know if it's available in anything longer than 2 inches, through McMaster or Amazon. I can't think of anywhere that has the 8 millimeter, the 5/16 diameter or 8 millimeter diameter, with the .047 wire that's longer than 2 inches. So I'll have to look that up. But if there was, a 2.2 inch .047 wire diameter, then it's possible you could get higher velocities just by swapping the hammer spring, assuming the recoil, is sufficient enough to cock the hammer with the heavier spring. What else? The trigger's odd, but it's basically just dropping a sear like any other trigger system. I think that this configuration was only so they could get the trigger forward further. I think naturally it would sit back here otherwise, and this little lever makes sense. There's a lot of steel parts on here, which I'm impressed with. I even think that the monoblock itself could be steel, although I'm not positive. It's super heavy if it's aluminum. I haven't pulled the hammer out of there yet to see, how big it is, but I get a rough idea of the diameter just looking at the hole, and I'm guessing it's pretty small. Yeah, I'll have to wiggle that out of there. The grip just comes off with, the grip naturally sits here. The one thing, when you take the bottom screw out of here, this block that houses the gauge has a little retainer hole in it that holds onto this little tab. And with those two things, with that screw and this block off, the grip just pops right off. The only thing that's functional in the grip is the safety, and that's just a trigger block. It's not sprung or anything else. What else? The valve is retained by these two large set screws right in front of the trigger, but even when I back them out, I cannot seem to get the valve moving forward. So maybe I could drive it out from the hammer path once I get the hammer out. And that's about it in my investigation so far. One thing I'm not seeing is a lot of potential mods aside from the, up in the hammer spring. I'm not seeing much as in the way of, power mods at least. So anyway, more to come.